Hello, everyone, and welcome to A Fistful of Dice. My name is Matt, and you are watching Session 0 of NOMAD, a Harbinger campaign. If you're not familiar with Harbinger, it is a 5th edition setting and rule set that is sort of like a dark science fantasy setting. It's got magic, it's got technology, it's got monsters, and it's really fun and really cool. If you're interested in checking out Harbinger, if at any point during this session 0 you think, hey, that sounds kind of neat, I want to check it out, there is a link down in the description to go get the playtest. It's totally free. We've been playtesting Harbinger for almost a year now. I realized the other day it has been almost a year since the original playtest came out. My initial plan was to get a playtest out every month. We're on version 0.4 currently, so clearly that has not happened. But we're going to have some fun tonight. We're just going to talk about this campaign, what sort of tone we want to have here, what sort of adventures we want to go on. We're going to talk about the characters. We're going to make some connections between those characters, and then we're going to talk about where we want to start in session 1. So before we do that, though, I'm going to toss it over to my AbTab cohort, Tim Carney, who's got something kind of cool to share with all of you who decided to show up to session 0 tonight. So Tim, take it away.
So thank you. And so we are about to launch a Kickstarter in the next few weeks, and we haven't really publicly announced that yet, but so long as everything continues to go on track, we'll probably be launching this in the next few weeks. And what we wanted to do, this is a Dead Man's Guide to Dragongrin. And what this is, it is our dark fantasy campaign setting book. It's going to be the first campaign setting book from Absolute Tabletop. But I think one of the most important things is that we decided early on this is going to be an atlas of inspiration. This is going to be a modular campaign setting book, borrowing a lot of elements from the way that we prep games and even some pieces of the Oath of the Frozen King. And so we're really excited because we're not going to just give you a history book that shows you, hey guys, here's our Dragongrin. We're going to show you the pillars of what we consider is the DNA, the core of Dragongrin, but then we're going to give you robust tools to customize that at your table for your group, making it absolutely your Dragongrin. And so we thought it would be cool to share the cover. And so this is the first time we're showing this anywhere, and I think what I'll do is go ahead and screen share here, if that's cool with you, Matt. So let's go ahead and do, and I'll go ahead and just do my browser, I guess, here. Okay. Let me know if you could see it here. Can you see it?
No, I think you're on. I think you shared the wrong tab there.
Oh, did I? So no, but really what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to share the cover. That was a little bit of a joke there, but I do have it ready. So this is the first time that we're actually going to be showing it. Now I want to, before I share it though, I do want to say that this is from John Pintar. So if you're interested in John Pintar's art, he is amazing. He's brilliant. I don't know how the quality is going to be because we are using Hangouts, but here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the cover for A Dead Man's Guide to Dragongrin. And here we go. So you can see John absolutely killed this. The textures, all of this awesome, awesome stuff. The Dragongrin logo, the stitched in AbTab, all that stuff. So we're really excited. Keep an eye out on this channel, on our other channels for A Dead Man's Guide to Dragongrin. Thanks a lot, Matt, for that opportunity to share that.
Absolutely. I mean, I benefit from it as well. So that's great. That looks so sick. John Pintar did an amazing job. He always just knocks it out of the park. I did like the alternate cover. That's going to be a Kickstarter exclusive, the Pee Pee Poo Poo Man cover. If you back at the $1,000 level, you get Dead Man's Guide to Dragongrin with the Pee Pee Poo Poo Man cover.
I couldn't resist, man. I'm getting over a flu, and I thought, this is a bad choice, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Because I'll keep the language down a little bit, I think, in this session 0.
The pee-pees and the poo-poos, it's too much.
We're setting a precedent.
Garrett hates toilet talk.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you for doing that, Tim. I hope people are excited for that. I'm really excited to launch that Kickstarter and get that book out to people. It's really shaping up. So, yeah. So let's go ahead and roll into session 0 for our Harbinger campaign entitled Nomad. Let me get my doc open here. I'm going to be taking some notes. I might do some screen sharing so you guys can see what that looks like. And part of the reason why I wanted to stream this session 0 is because I get a lot of questions about like, what does a session 0 look like? Like, what do you talk about? What sorts of things do you decide on? And so I thought I would like kill 2 birds with 1 stone here and, you know, A, start this campaign off and get the session 0 going, and B, like show you guys what a session 0 looks like. So you can do this with your online groups. You can do this at home with your home group. Just get together, plan on rolling up characters together and just talking about the campaign. So I think the first thing that we're going to do is talk about campaign pillars. Let me go ahead and screen share here so people can see what I'm doing. So campaign pillars are like, they're like big, vague ideas of what you want in the campaign. So they can be things like, I want to hunt monsters, or I want to like build our own ship, or I want to, you know, find the pee pee poo poo man and enlist his aid in the quest against the whatevers. But basically, this is a way for me to ask the players what sorts of things they want to do in this campaign and really get a feel for what I'm going to be prepping for the campaign and for the sessions. So we're just going to kind of roll into this. I think that I'll go ahead and throw one in there, and then I'll toss it to you guys. And what I would like, ideally though, is I would like 1 pillar from each of you. One thing that you want to do in this campaign, 1 tone that you want to strike, 1 theme that you want to explore, 1 monster you want to fight, you know, 1 planet you want to visit. What are the things that you guys want to do in this campaign? And so I'm going to throw, the first thing I'm going to throw in there is merc work. I want you guys to be mercenaries. I want to have you guys be on sort of the fringes of the known orbits of Bastion in this setting of Harbinger. And I want you to be taking jobs from both unsavory types as well as like nobles of the Seps. I want you guys to be sort of like the people that they call in when the job is too unsavory for their own people to do. So merc work is definitely something that I want to focus on. And I think that will give me a lot of like leeway in the quests that I give you guys and the missions that I put in front of you. In addition, I think it'll just be fun for you guys to play sort of unsavory mercenary types in this setting. So merc work. So we're talking unsavory jobs, dirty dealings, things swept under the rug, earning just enough to keep flying. Doing questions. Cool. So that's what I'm going to throw in there. Does anyone else have something that they want to throw in there right away, or should we go like left to right here?
I'm right off the bat. First of all, I want to go because I'm excited, and second of all, I want to go so nobody takes mine. I love
Good.
like jumping right on it. Like illegal or like gray area legal salvage stuff.
I want to do salvage.
Okay.
Cool. Sorry, man.
Yep.
Yes.
You do it. I'm really into, especially like, you know, the idea is any salvage, obviously anything to make money, but really we'd be looking for that big score of like quote unquote ancient technology stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's where, so I'm like, absolutely, that's me. Is like the first episode, the very first scene of, not the first scene, but the first scene where they're salvaging in Firefly.
Yep, that's exactly what I was going to say, where they're salvaging and the Alliance shows up and they have to like turn tail and run.
No, yeah, they try not to move and then they get scanned. Yeah, that's what I mean. Yep. I'm like right there. That, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, that's really perfect. Okay, awesome. Good one, James. I'm gonna put your name here. So
I got something as well too.
If
we're
for
just going around.
Yep.
So I think for me, like treacherous environments is kind of a big one for me. You know, I want to feel like, you know, we're going into places where we're on the edge of death, like at all times, like danger, and like feeling like we're pushing the boundaries of the locations that we're exploring and the things that we're dealing with.
Very cool. That's great. And all of this and that's the thing is that like pillars can be totally disparate where it's like they don't really necessarily like make sense together. In this case, we have three things that like super work together. Like all three of these things could play into a single mission, you know? So I think that's great.
Yeah, and I think too, like just from a teaching standpoint, having pillars that don't make sense together is really good inborn conflict.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
So doing that on purpose, like I want to follow the law. I want to not follow the law.
Exactly.
Yeah. Players just like, oh wow, hey, look, a story everywhere we turn.
Yeah. Perfect.
I think there should be, and this might be obvious, but scenes where we are, and I don't know if this is a pillar actually, scenes where we are on the ship kind of having conversations about kind of the story at hand or whatnot. Kind of like Luke and Leia and Han in the Falcon talking about the mission while it's happening, or so to speak, is if that would be like having some sort of home base to keep it episodic. I think that's the goal there.
Like ship downtime, right? Something like that.
Yeah, downtime on the ship. That's what I wrote.
Bridge time, yeah.
Yeah, I really like that idea. And that also makes me think that rather than say, okay, you guys travel for 3 days and you arrive in Arganis, like making it more of a journey and throwing things at you guys while you're aboard the ship that doesn't necessarily play into the mission that you're doing. You know, you get attacked by Scrugs or, you know, there's an Astra storm that you have to avoid. And that allows you guys time to really like interact with each other aboard the ship and get to know the ship as a character as well. So I think that's great, man.
Perfect.
Mine sort of piggybacks on yours because it's similar in one way, which was, and this is open to veto, but I only wrote down one thing in my flu-ridden bed. I typed it with my sweaty thumbs onto my phone, and I was like, I would love it if it was like hyper episodic, like to the point to where there are holes in what we do. So,
okay, yeah.
Like, I would love it if this was something where when we start a session, it could have been a week, it could have been a day, it could have happened, you know, to whatever. I like the idea that it could start with us on a spaceport and you don't have to set it up. We're just there, and it's
like if my character was fat last episode, he's not fat anymore.
Yeah,
because
we jumped the start
that job. You know, you can do that thing where you're like, oh, well, last time we did this, and we didn't actually do it in front of the
exactly
but it's in there. You know,
I love that
exactly. But like, I think that to me, like making it very, very like TV show-esque, to where it's like, you know, you start off and it's like, all right, so you guys are in spaceport, blah blah blah. And we're like, all right, cool, that's where we are. I don't need to know where I was an hour ago. I don't need to. That doesn't matter because it didn't matter on screen, you know?
Right.
Yeah, because it also allows you to throw us anywhere doing anything. You know, it's not like, all right, well, they're never going to make it to, you know, this other moon because it's so far away. You're like, well, no, you're there now.
Right.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't even go as far as to say like pulp comic, where it's like, but almost that feel where it's like, oh, what's going to happen in this issue?
Yeah. Like that makes me think of like the old Conan stories where it was like none of them ran into each other. It was always just like, what's Conan doing on this day? Like, you know, and this could have happened at any point and you know, in his adventures, but it's just, this is a story featuring Conan.
A day in the life is probably how I would say it. Like it's a day in the life. And so what the final kind of thing that I put was, if possible, there can be multiple through lines. But I would love to feel like there was a beginning, middle, and end to something every session.
Yeah,
Matt,
like
I want you to write a really good TV show for us. That's what I want. I want you to make sure it all ties together. I want to make sure the villains better. You better have a really good. I keep trying to make jokes, and I realize you did. The villains are going to be good. You're going to have good accents. You're going to make it. It's like you're trying to say things you couldn't do, and I'm like, I'm coming up short on all of them.
Well, I have a couple of ground rules for your writing room. So all the guys and girls, it's fine. I have a show Bible. It's real simple stuff. It's only 80 pages.
This is awesome. I didn't know that I was getting hired on here. This is great. One thing I want to add on to this too, Tim, is this allows us to play around with downtime activities where if you guys like, own a shop or, are doing modifications on the ship, we can roll that into the downtime between sessions where we talk about what do you guys, it's going to be about a month. What are you guys doing in this month? Or, that
Sure.
sort of thing where, Lloyd was saying, you can kind of allude to things that maybe happened in between sessions that we didn't necessarily see, like quote unquote on screen. So I think that's perfect.
That. I love that. And I don't know if everyone else would be open to it, but I would literally be open to if you're like, all right, so you've been drifting in the such and such system. Like, I'm fine. I'm like, write that check. I'm in.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Yeah. And screen wipes as hell. Like,
right.
Yeah.
So many.
So many screen wipes. Okay, cool. And then what that also allows us to do here is I added, this is 5 players. This is more players than I usually run for. And the reason I'm doing this is because I want to run this monthly. I want to get a good amount of playtime in on Harbinger. And so this allows us to, if Tim, you can't make a session in a month, you miss one, and we come up with a reason where your character, stayed in, the port to, gather some weapons or get some intel or something. You're not there for that particular mission, So, and I think that'll be super useful for me, where I'm not feeling like I need to involve every single person in every single mission. So that's great.
So one more, is there any chance we could just run it in the Forgotten Realms?
Yeah, I was going to do that. I was going to ask if you guys wanted to do that.
That's what I was going to say for my one, but
well, it's like the
I love that he said for my one. He ate a whole thing of juju beans.
Oh man! All right,
so I want
yours, man.
Fucking esoteric space magic weirdness is what I want. Like ritualized, like meditation to fly through space, and like crazy, deep, insane hacking that goes on, and like creepy, really into it, like for space and for for magic and for mechanist.
Yeah,
like
you want some like Warhammer Event Horizon shit going on.
Yeah, I want to be able to like close my eyes if I'm a mancer and just be like, okay, I'm in the universe,
Right. Yeah, I'm feeling the waves of Astra outside the ship right now. That sort of stuff. Okay, cool. That's great. Okay.
So like it's not understood.
I would like you to hold that thing.
Totally.
Okay, thank you. That's my last
Parker. We call in Absolute Tabletop, we call that wiping while pooping when someone does that.
God, watch your language, man. Jesus.
Sorry, pee pee poo poo, man. All right, so everyone has put in a pillar, and as you can see, we got some good stuff here. And this is what this does. This serves 2 purposes here. One, the players have input in the campaign, and so I know what to put in there to make sure that they're enjoying themselves and that they're feeling fulfilled in a meta sense for the content that's in the campaign. And it also gives me a ton of ideas for sessions that I want to run. And so as every single pillar that we're filling out here, I'm like jotting down notes of like, oh, that'd be cool. That'd be cool. That'd be cool. Like it gives you as the GM, like so many different ideas, and it makes it so that you have a great starting point starting out with this campaign. So session zeros are invaluable. I really, really enjoy it. So cool. Unless anyone has anything else they want to add to this, I think we're probably good with that. Yeah. Is there anything else that you guys are like dying to throw in there? No? Okay. Cool. All right. So I think the next thing we want to talk about, now that we have a sense for what the sort of theme of the campaign is going to be, which is going to be like crazy space magic weirdness. You guys are basically live on a, floating haunted house in space. Hyper episodic. You guys are doing shady merc work, illegal salvage, going to dangerous locations, risking your lives for a few pieces of glint to scrape together. What sorts of characters will go on those adventures? So again, similarly, if someone has an idea for a character they'd like to play, go ahead and throw it out there. We are using an early version of the version 0.5 playtest. So we're going to be talking about origins, which is our races, and backgrounds as well. So you guys in the chat here are going to be hearing some things that you might necessarily be aware of, but you will be soon. So yeah, who wants to throw in here?
So I'm super into mechanists. That's like that's absolutely what I'm into. So probably like scavenger mechanist.
Okay.
No question.
Cool. And this is you don't need a name, you don't need a detailed backstory. Like even if it's just a concept at this point, that's totally fine.
Yeah.
I'm really keen to play a ex-sept mancer. So somebody who was involved in and that's where the esoteric stuff comes in. Like obviously learn some stuff in the Sept, and now is like, I don't know, like a navigator or something, but also has these weird magical powers.
Dope. Okay, cool. That sounds great. Are you thinking background wise, maybe like Oathsworn or Noble?
Probably, yes. Something to do with Septs, something educated would be my thing, you know?
Yeah. You could also go like Sage if you wanted to be like a knowledge sort of based Mancer guy. Would be good.
Yep. I'm gonna have a look and I'll get back to you.
Cool. Sounds good. Who else?
Yeah, if I don't want to crowd all the Mancer slots, so I'm open to adjustments, but I also would like to play a Mancer. I'm kind of in a totally different space to Lloyd. I was looking at Wheeler as the thing. Basically, I had this idea for a Mancer who uses like Yellow Astra, like the graph shift and adhesions to basically rip people off and steal things and just all sorts of nasty nasty manipulations that he can use Yellow Astra for.
I really like that a lot. So you're Han Solo the mage. I love it. That's so perfect.
Dude, we can have these like conversations where you're this like untrained but like skillful whatever, and I'm like, I think you'll find you're doing that wrong. You know, like all this grossness.
Just totally the opposite. Just no education, no training, no anything. Of just like, I guess I have this power. I can use it to make money, so might as well.
Yeah, that's perfect. I really love that. And Wheeler is one of the backgrounds in Harbinger, and it basically is like you're a sort of like a scoundrel. It is like I wanted a Han Solo type background in there, and so this is like your way to, be a gambler, scoundrel, ripping people off, sort of charlatan type stuff. So that's great. Love that. All right, who's up next? We got Tim and Barker still need to weigh in here.
What are you thinking, Tim? I think I'm going to go Mancer.
Oh, cool. I was going to say, I think I was going to go Mechanist.
Oh, I was just kidding about the Mancer part. Sorry.
Oh.
No.
Mancer's all the way down.
I was going to go Mechanist, man. I'm not going to go Mechanist.
No. And I can go, or you can go. It's up to you, man.
You've been talking about going Mechanist for days, so you feel free to go Mechanist and talk about your character right now.
Well, when he first posted, I was like, it's rare that I'll get a flash of a character so vividly. Like usually I'm like, oh, that's a name. I'm gonna do that guy. So what I'm thinking is, I'm imagining this sort of book smart, very like engineer sort of mechanist, and I don't know exactly what it would have been. I would imagine Moonborn, Sept work of some sort, probably like a high level designer. Like this would be the kind of guy that would be into studying charts on the wind pattern of the moon so that they can make more money, making more energy. You know what I'm saying? Like that kind of like very, very methodical, not stuffy per se, but prone to being like a little more neat, a little more like, wanting to be in control. But I want to have had something go wrong. Falling out. Basically everything that I kind of know is gone. But it's very recent. And so I'm not the dirty merc. I'm not like in on this. I'm not like, yeah, I know this life. I'm like really good at this, but I don't know the ropes.
Right.
So that kind of vibe, if that's cool.
I like that because that puts you at odds with James's Mechanist, who's like down and dirty, oil streak scavenger, and you're sort of the builder, designer sort of guy.
Right. And that's kind of what I'm thinking, like schematics and, soldering something again later because I want it to be a tighter solder, like that kind of thing.
Right. Okay, cool.
Yeah. As far as background, I didn't know. I didn't know exactly what to do yet, but I'll kind of toy with that.
Yeah, I would say maybe Noble would be a good fit. Also, Sage would be possible because that's sort of like learned, knowledgeable sort of stuff.
Yeah, and I think I was leaning toward Noble and maybe kind of taking that.
You could also potentially do like Laborer, although that is more like gritty, mining the rocks sort of stuff,
right?
And less designing and building.
And so I was thinking of taking noble and playing it as wealthy. So
Okay, yeah.
not necessarily someone who had the ring and I wasn't necessarily born in a family, but those families paid me. So I was in the same neighborhood. I went to the same parties.
Right. Okay.
You know, but I like the idea that because I didn't have the ring, that's how they were able to kick me out once they were done with me or whatever. So play it as a noble, but it was like noble by periphery.
Right. Okay, cool. Awesome. And then Barker, are you cool with playing a Treader, man? So we can have
Dude,
one of
I'm
each class?
so cool with playing a Treader. That
Okay.
sounds perfect.
Dope.
Perfect. And like Dice has an excellent family backstory. Holly, obviously, Jeremiah Diggs. I want this guy to know nobody. Like I want to have zero ties to any sort of family. I want to be that sort of character in the episodic game where I'm just like I'm there with the firearm and I, am blasting, I don't know, pulse rounds at enemies and we can build a story together as a group. Obviously there are so many ways we can do that, but I don't want that sort of like that family member I need to rescue sort of thing.
Right. Totally. Okay, cool.
He's firing blaster shots and killing scrugs, and then he mugs the camera like Jim Halpert. That's where I thought he was going with that. He's like, and I look at the camera and I wink and I kill another one.
That's perfect. Okay, cool. All right. So Lloyd, you mentioned you're going to go Voidborn Mancer.
Yep.
With Noble. Okay, Voidborn.
Yeah, but if there's things that you'd like tried out, or you'd prefer like people to try out more things, I'm happy to switch.
I'm less concerned with testing out the origins just because they're fairly straightforward.
Okay.
I'm more wanting a good mixture of classes, which we absolutely have. So from there, like I don't have a strong preference. Okay, cool. So James, we've got Mechanist Scavenger. Have you thought about origin?
Oh yeah, Voidborn for sure.
Voidborn? Okay, cool. All right, Voidborn, Scavenger, Mechanist.
I'm gonna leave it double Scavenger, baby.
Double Scavenger. Lloyd's going Voidborn, Noble Mancer. Jeff's going Moonborn and Wheeler Mancer. Tim, Moonborn, potentially Noble Mechanist. We haven't decided on your background yet. Put that there.
I think that's what it's looking like, yeah.
Okay, cool. And then Barker, in terms of background and origin, what are you thinking, man?
So I'm not entirely sure, man. I was gonna ask for your input on that to see.
Totally. I'm down for whatever.
I don't want. Here's the thing: is I don't want to be that guy who's like, "I'll fill, bro," because that's not how I feel about this campaign. I've been thinking about Harbinger for months, and I will play whatever I need to play. Yeah, I'll play support, whatever. Yeah. No, that's not. I'm so stoked. So,
well,
what do you? I was thinking Moonborn at first, but if no one has done a Forgeborn, go ahead.
You mentioned that you didn't want to have any sort of ties. I feel like Forgeborn might be perfect for that because you literally just kind of wake up like in a forge, like, oh, hey, it's thousands of years after I was created.
No way to have ties. Yeah.
Yeah. Like perfect. I don't have a family.
that is fine. That sounds perfect to me.
So if you're down with it, it'd be cool to have a Forgeborn in the party just to kind of play around with that because they are interesting to me for sure, and I want to explore that more. So,
yep, absolutely. I was thinking Sage for a little bit, like this person who has just robbed these vials. I don't know, robbed a store of like a library or something, or I don't know.
Yeah, the thing with Forgeborn is they're created to fill a bunch of different roles and tasks, and so really you can go any direction with it. Like the obvious sort of thing is like, oh, he was a soldier or he was a laborer, but really,
I was thinking a laborer like just a gopher bot for some sort of actual sage,
right?
And I'm just I just have the stuff.
Okay, cool. Yeah, dope. I really like that. And
did you pick Sage, Tim? I didn't know if you didn't do that, right?
No,
you picked Noble. And I was looking at Noble, but then Forgeborn makes sense for Sage.
Well, and Matt, I think you were about to say a thought, and then I had a thought pursuant to what Barker's saying. Were you going to say something?
No.
Matt? Oh, sorry. No, it sounded like, sorry. So what I was going to say, Matt, is in the nature of kind of playtesting and being me, I was looking and I'm thinking, are you okay with, between now and the time the campaign starts, tinkering with some sort of craftsman background? Basically, what I'm looking at is I'm looking at these and they're killer, but there's no artisan. There's a laborer, which to me is, like you said, backbreaking the rocks, but
Right, yeah.
there's no ship mechanic. There's no, so I'm thinking maybe like craftsman or some kind of artisan placeholder.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what I'm thinking. Something between a laborer and maybe like a noble is like that. So would you be open to creating a background with me?
Yeah, I know. Super, like, can you create a special background specifically for me? But here's the thing, and then I want to make this perfectly clear to you guys as players and also to the viewers watching. One of the big reasons why I'm running this campaign, other than the fact that I really want to play with you guys and I really want to run a Harbinger campaign, is I want to use this as an opportunity to really dive into this system, because I have done nothing but design this setting and system for a year, and I've run maybe 2 or 3 games in it, and I honestly think that's unacceptable. I want to run a lot more games in this system, and I'm going to lean on you guys for feedback. And so, Tim, that is exactly what I'm looking for, where you're like, there's not background for the kind of character that I want to create. And I go, cool, let's we'll make that happen then. You know, if we get to level 3 and Lloyd, you say there's not a subclass for the character that I want to play, I go, let's work on what sort of role is missing from the Mancer, you know, or
Sure. Yep.
you know, what sort of spells are missing, that sort of thing. So this is an opportunity for me to have a sort of playtest group, like an alpha group, for lack of a better phrase. So anything like that comes up, like, just tell me and we'll make it happen. Like, you're not going to hurt my feelings when you say there's no background for what I want to do. I'm going to go, you know what? Totally. Let's make it happen. That's super easy to do. So we will create some sort of like artisan or craftsman or, you know, tinkerer sort of background that sort of fills a different role than, say, like the scavenger or the laborer does.
Right. I'm thinking something between a laborer and a mechanist has to be the guy that's doing basic ship repairs or any of that stuff. I mean, if the whole world runs on Astra, there's got to be Joe's mechanic, like some, you know, so yeah.
Perfect. Okay, cool. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so we've got Voidborn Scavenger. Oh,
that
go ahead.
makes me some kind of arch mancer, like the most powerful mancer. Could you make that for me?
Yeah, definitely. I will definitely do that. Basically, when you roll up your character, you start at level 15.
Okay, great. Yeah.
And
I'd like to be rich too. Can I be rich?
Yeah, rich and good looking.
Yeah, definitely. You get 20s down the board on
Cool.
all stats. Right. Yeah, I will definitely implement that as soon as possible. It is also worth noting that we are starting at level 1. So everyone's going to be you know, the Mancers are going to be different, but they are both starting at level 1. Once everyone gets to level 3, we break off into our subclasses and everything starts getting a little bit crazier and a little bit more different. So, but I think it's important to start out at level 1, especially with the game as we're playtesting it and getting a feel for the low levels and making sure that everything feels good at that level. Because so far, most of the Harbinger games I've run are either level 3 or level 5. So it's important to me that level 1 feels exciting and cool as well. So, all right. And feel free to just throw character stuff in here as we move on here, guys. If you get ideas for your characters, I'm actually going to go ahead and how do I do the thing? Hang on. I'm going to make it so you guys can type in here if you want. Okay. You guys should be able to type now. So if you want to, under your character, you can just like boop and create a bullet with tab and throw some ideas in there if you want. Not saying you have to.
Bold move, letting us type in there.
I know. Now everything.
See how it pans out for him.
The
raw
power.
I'm going to come back in this doc and there's going to be a giant pee pee poo poo man poster just breaking all the text.
What did you say? Gonna be?
Did you say gonna be? Cool. Okay. So the next thing I kind of wanted to talk about is like starting location. This just is, for me, I think part of my session 0 process. It gives me a feel for where you guys want to start out, what your first missions are going to be, because I think most of the time, like, your starting location is kind of where you hang out, at least for a few sessions. with this, it might be a little bit different because you guys are going to have a void ship and you're going to be able to, travel across the known orbits. But I like the idea that, maybe your first quest givers are here in this starting location. And you're able to sort of journey back there and have a somewhat of a home away from home sort of situation. Is there something funny happening?
Nope.
It's perfectly
I don't know what you're talking
PG, but it was very funny.
It's actual work.
Okay. All right. So one of the possibilities I just want to throw out there for starting location is having you guys start on Terminus Dusk. And that is cool. For those of you who don't know, Terminus Dusk is basically, it's this giant asteroid that is essentially orbiting the Harbinger. It sort of fell into Harbinger's gravity well and is orbiting this giant alien Leviathan. And there's like a sort of like a what's the first base you set up when you're climbing a mountain? What's that called?
Base camp.
Base camp. It's basically base camp for people that want to go inside the Harbinger. Now, I like that idea. The reason why I'm a little wary of doing it is because you guys are level 1, and I don't necessarily want you just being like, all right, let's go into the Harbinger sort of thing. So another possibility that sort of fills a similar sort of niche, but is a little bit more level 1 speed, is starting in Skyhook, which is a floating port in atmosphere of Daggerad, which is like this backwater desert moon that used to have a big ocean on it, and the ocean dried up and now it's just like full of sand and coral. There's this thing called Skyhook that's an Atmo port, so it's like floating in the sky. It's your Mos Eisley cantina. It's a wretched hive of scum and villainy. People just stop off there to refuel, both fuel for the ship and also fuel for their bodies. There might be a couple merchants there, but mostly it's just sort of a big, yeah, exactly. Lloyd just put in the chat, tavern. Like, that's exactly sort of what it is. It's a tavern. So instead of you guys meet in a tavern, it would be you meet in an Atmo port. So that would be a possibility. You guys could also start on any number of moons, or we could use the moon generator in the back of the book and generate like a specific location for you guys to go to. So I'm open to ideas. What are you guys thinking?
So based on sort of the pillar Tim threw in there, I also think there's something to be said about not deciding on where to start, though that is something you would normally do in a session 0. And when we start the first session, you say, okay, so you guys are, in the atmosphere of wherever, you're out of gas, what happens?
Okay, so
I think there's something, yeah.
You're thinking more starting sort of in media res, like in the middle of a mission. You guys,
whether
are
it's
there.
good or bad, yeah, we could just be floating. We could be about to land somewhere. We could be in an Atmo port. We could be, but it's sort of just like, like the beginning of the episode where we don't know, but you say, "All right, guys, this is where you are." What happens? Obviously, bonus points if it's like, "All right, what do? You need to do it quickly."
Yeah, yeah.
Right. Okay, cool.
To kind of throw something out there that we didn't really discuss is I'm totally okay with, because I know all of you really well and love role playing with you. I'm totally okay with having known each other, like not having to, but I'm also okay with, hey, what are you doing at Skyhook? But just trying to find
what I was thinking is that everyone knows each other. You guys are already aboard the ship and stuff, but you haven't been together long. And maybe a couple of you know each other really well. Maybe there's another group of 2 that know each other. Like, we can build, that's another thing we can do here, is we can kind of build connections between characters. But being able to just jump right into the campaign, I think, will be more fun than dealing with, everyone meeting up or whatever.
So how does this hit you? Oh, go ahead, James.
I was just saying, I agree with we're on a ship, what I mean? We're sharing bunks. We're not doing is he a bad guy? We're like, no, he sleeps right there.
I love that we've done a job and we always refer to it as the job, like we did.
I was just going to say, like, something, right? Like, is that what you're getting at?
Yeah, that we did something in the past and that's how we know each other, and it's like there. And like, maybe it went wrong or something and we're like, the job. And like, maybe it went wrong or something and we're like, the job. And that's how we know each other, and it's like there. And like, maybe it went wrong or something and we're like, the job. And like, maybe it went wrong or something and we're like, the job.
this guy knows what I'm talking
Yeah, I
about.
really love that. And that
was-
allows you guys to
Yeah,
sort
I
of
like
just
that.
like improv the hell out of that, where like you can
Yeah.
sort of just make it sound completely insane, like
Yeah.
just add stuff into it.
Yeah, you
That's
can constantly
exactly-
just give.
yeah.
We never talk about it, but you constantly get context of and then that Atmo port on that one backwater moon, and then
Yeah.
this and then this. Yeah,
You guys
Yeah.
run into an
Like,
NPC.
this
This is
is
just
I haven't seen
this
you
is
since
just like
the job.
the job. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
exactly.
Dude, yeah,
Okay.
and I don't know if
Oh,
you guys
if
down
we
with
do
it.
this, it's gonna go wrong. Like when we did the
Like the
job.
job,
Like, it's
right.
just
Right. And so this brings it up too. I would love it if there was actually something really bad that happened, so that it's not just like the job. It's like it's not something we bring up super often, because it's like, I mean, we might bring it up, but it's I like the idea that maybe something went pretty south and that's why we're maybe together.
Yeah.
What about FFG Star Wars has Obligation, where you start off with like a bunch of shit that like your character is in trouble for.
Yeah.
We could have something like that, where like, oh, because of the job, this is why you have so many enemies, and why you can't go to that bar, and why you can't go over here. And
I really like that idea. And I think we can kind of have like a Han Solo dumping his cargo sort of situation, where the
Right.
reason why you guys are sort of desperate to get jobs is because of the job. And something
Yes.
happened where maybe you're in debt, maybe you pissed off the wrong people, but basically you guys are running from something or trying to pay off something, or something happened during the job that has sort of you guys were forged in the crucible of the job. Like you were all separate alloys and you came together in the job, and that's the reason why you're all together. I really like that idea. And I have so many ideas for what happened during the job, but I don't want to know any of them or talk about them. I want it to sort of build and build throughout the campaign, where it sort of starts to become clear what happened during the job.
That's
oh,
awesome.
man, last session of the campaign is that we do a flashback to the job.
Yeah,
That
we play
is
the job.
Yeah.
Everyone goes
Yeah.
back to level 1 and we find out what
Yeah.
happens during the job.
oh man.
I get a TPK during the job and I'm like, oh, so you all died and the entire campaign was purgatory. That's what the job was.
Fox canceled us.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So you guys are all cool with, each other. You've got some connections with each other, and you're just we're starting with that first episode of Firefly. You guys are on a job or en route to a job. You guys are doing a mission. We're not going to play around with, having to throw you guys together, because you've already been thrown together.
That's killer.
Cool.
Yeah, that's really cool.
All right. Awesome. Okay, cool. So I can definitely work with that. I've already got some ideas. Let's see here. You guys are filling out some stuff up there. That's great. Oh, cool. Okay, awesome. James, friends with the ship, takes care of the ship. That's awesome. So that was another thing I was going to ask is your guys' ship is going to be called the Nomad, and it's going to be sort of a junker. I'm going to, let's see here. I'm going to open up I haven't actually looked at the PDF here. Let me open it up. Let's see. You guys could, wait, did I pass it by? Who laid this out?
Who would be best to ask where something could be found in this document?
Who laid this book out? Oh, it's in equipment. The ships are in equipment. That makes
Furthermore, who designed a lot of this?
Who wrote this game? Okay, so I imagine that you guys would probably have okay, you could have a skiff if you really wanted to be cramped, but I'm up for giving you guys a catch and giving you the ability to take on passengers if you wanted. Like, if you guys had a skiff, you wouldn't be able to add anybody else into the ship without cramming them into like a cupboard or something. Like, there would be literally no room for another passenger. My other thinking is that, the tonnage of a skiff is 2 tons, so you can't carry a ton of cargo, whereas a catch can carry up to 10 tons. So my
have
thing
a catch but have a crushing debt, like we owe a lot of money to somebody.
That's what I'm thinking, is that you haven't paid it off. Yeah.
So maybe without
Yeah,
saying
I like that.
how or why, it's connected to the job. Like maybe this ship,
Yeah.
we don't know it so well. And so we're all learning it. Like, this isn't like, oh, my baby. It's not our Millennium Falcon yet. It's
Yeah.
like Rosalita, the house cleaning Falcon. We don't know it. It's doing a fine job, And you're like, this is...
I don't know if that is offensive or not. I'm not sure.
It is offensive.
I don't think it is. If you have to ask yourself.
I just wanted to say, Matt, stop trying to make catch happen. It's not going to happen.
Oh man. Okay, so
Jesus.
giving you guys a catch. Here's the catch, though. It's not paid off. The catch is not paid off. And then I love the idea of you guys getting some leva bikes at some point. I'm not going to start you off with leva bikes, but I really want you guys to buy either a couple leva bikes or a leva sled because I want to have cool vehicle, like ground vehicle combat. I think that'd be great. You know what? I'm gonna put that on my pillars wish list. Here we go. Leva bikes, buy some. Oh no! I copied the URL to the Hangout into the doc. That was weird.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
All right,
This
anyone with
skyhook
passion?
scrub.
This skyhook scrub. Okay, so the last thing that I like to do in a session 0 is I like to have some mysteries or questions. And this is like pretty open-ended. It's kind of like pillars, but it's also just sort of like, it can be more tied to character stuff. So it can be like, what happened to my character's dad? I just spelled characters wrong and dad wrong. What happened to my characters? I am an editor, I swear. I'm a professional editor. What happened to my character's dad? Or, you know, where did the specter on the NOMAD come from? That sort of thing. So I can throw a question in there, and then you guys can throw some in if you want. Let's see here. A mystery or question that I would like answered is, let's see. Good Lord, what happened to the last crew of the NOMAD? Like, I like the idea that there's maybe signs on the ship that something horrible happened on the ship and like something horrible happened to the crew, but you guys just aren't sure. And whoever you got the ship from, like, wouldn't tell you. So I like that is sort of like an ongoing mystery.
Might be repetitive, but the job is kind of a mystery.
Definitely. I'll put the job in there. And the NOMAD style guide is that the job is always written in all caps. That's the
it's like a screenplay.
Yeah, the job.
And you got to say it like a cigar. You know, the jab. It's the jab.
The jab. Any other questions, mysteries, intrigues? Whoa, what happened?
So this is like gonna be super basic, but I kind of like the idea of like my character's Astra just being
God damn it.
God damn it. A mystery to him. So like he has these powers, but he has, like, so what even is Astra? Like he doesn't really know. So I think kind of like trying to get into maybe the base of that might be interesting. Like where does that come from and what can it even do?
That's perfect. Come from what can it do? The pee pee poo poo skyhook. Tim, you have the flu or something? What's going on, man? All right, I'm deleting this. Was that the starting location? Is this? Oh, it's a bullet point in the starting location. That's perfect. Okay, noted.
Just toss it aside. Pillars. It's fine.
Yeah. Any other mysteries, questions, anything like that you guys want to toss in there? Things you want to discover?
Yeah, I do feel like
Harbinger or Dominion tech or anything like that.
Yeah, like my character would be extremely interested in Dominion tech. I wasn't really sure how to sort of package that, but he would be interested, you know, his holy grail, or probably more specifically the Fountain of Youth, is he likes to think that one day he might actually find faster than light travel again. You know, that's his thing. You know, if he hears a rumor about it, he's gonna go off on it, even though it's the most ridiculous thing, you know, currently in the universe. So very interested in Dominion tech and stuff.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's perfect. I like playing with that.
I like the idea. Oh, go ahead. No, you go ahead. No, we're on the same wavelength. You're probably going to say what I was thinking anyway.
I don't know. I'm not too like familiar with how like Astra was before the end of all the high tech stuff, but if there's like a similar Dominion Astra or like the higher arts of the Astra, like maybe there's like ancient texts or whatever, but they're all vague as hell. Like I think my character is really into studying that stuff, and like he believes that there's like abilities beyond. Ooh, I can, like really practical stuff like yellow Astra or red. He thinks there's like a purple or like a golden or like something where you can like project your body somewhere, or like like more esoteric sort of stuff.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. And I like that too, because that's actually a question that I have like on a meta level, is like what Astra looked like in the Old Dominion, because I have it in my mind that like they didn't really use it for magic. Like that was something that happened out of desperation, like after the fall of the Old Dominion. But I also like the idea that there was maybe like a high like echelon of people who were able to manipulate Astra and could do so with like great mastery and power. And maybe that's something that we can explore with your characters, like figuring out exactly what those guys did and how they did it.
So I'm thinking of like the Spicers Guild from like Dune, where like they can fold space and like that kind of high level, or like in Warhammer where you have like navigators who can like see the layer on top of space, like all that sort of weird sort of shit,
Definitely. Okay, cool. Yeah. I love that.
So I think I was thinking of like if James is going like Dominion tech and that kind of stuff, I don't know where specters fit in. But I like the idea that my character would be perhaps interested in how is a specter made? Where do they come from? Like, I don't know if that's common knowledge, or I just think that I would be more interested in learning that sort of stuff.
Right. So are you thinking of maybe like focusing on necrotech stuff?
I was thinking maybe, but I was thinking like maybe because I have to. So kind of giving you the bullet to fire and say, maybe at some point I lose an arm, or at some point, like,
yeah, because
knowing going in,
I was just reading the necrotech and I'm like, one of us is getting a baromech. If it ain't you, it's me.
Yeah,
so
I want
the
necrotech
train,
necrotech.
but I'm like, so no
if
question.
If you were on that train, I'm not trying to take it. I didn't realize you were going that. I didn't.
Well, I just realized
on that wagon.
No, so that's what I'm saying. I'm like, dude, absolutely. If you want to go that way, I was all into sort of the scavenger and everything, but then I was reading the necrotech and I was like, it'd be really the baromechs, and the specter kind of fits in with the ship. But I'm like, your character seems a little more suited to that kind of weirder side of stuff.
So I'm also cool with if you know that, if that's your stuff and you were kind of into it and you're, what did our buddy Kaz say? He's like, baseball and scotch, two things you need to have somebody teach you. Like you don't just start watching baseball or start drinking scotch. Someone shows you that stuff. And it's like, what if you have this weird fixation, and you being that scrapper junker and me being the straight-laced guy, you're like, hey man, look at this stuff. You should start looking at this and stop doing it this way. Something where you kind of show me the idea of it, because I'm opposed to it maybe.
Because that is another important point, is when we start, neither of us are either of those things, but I think my character would be very interested in the baromech idea and the the baromech specter idea of this weird like consciousness that inhabits stuff, basically necrotech in general.
Right. And maybe that's something where I'm like, that's a pseudoscience.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
And I'm like, yeah.
And Matt, like I said, that's kind of a blank check that I can let you just kind of give to you. And then I'm like, you can cash that in whenever, but at some point I would probably need to turn on it. I'm not hard and fast against it. I just don't respect it. Or I fear it or whatever. But then at some point I would kind of have to go, okay, maybe this is the only way that I can have an arm or live. Maybe I'm dying or whatever. And I'll work with you on that. But I'd be cool with that, James, if you are.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
You're the guy who knows all the Formula One race car driver names.
Yeah,
what if one of the, I'm just going to throw this out there. Like, what if you mentioned that the thing that caused you to sort of leave and go into this life of unsavory work is there was some sort of like accident or disaster? Like, what if you hurt yourself or somebody that you cared about, and you're sort of interested in learning more about necrographs and like learning how to like replace organs and body parts and stuff like that?
Yeah, that wouldn't be bad. Like maybe
Like,
I
that's
have
just an
something-
idea for sure.
Oh, dude. So I'm okay too with like leaning on a little bit of that Doctor Strange hand injury kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where like I was really good, but maybe I'm not so good anymore.
Like straight up, I'm fine with you like even starting with a missing limb or a missing hand or something, because I've been wanting to play more with I have like very basic necrographed like rules written up somewhere, and I'd love to like play with that kind of stuff. Not necessarily starting out, but if you wanted to start like missing an arm, you can if you want to.
I would maybe even go like, James, if you want to be that guy who's giving me a free prison tattoo. Like, hey,
it ain't free. Don't kid yourself.
I'm like, yeah, you're right. I will give you 2 Astra cigarettes for a prison tattoo. No, basically I'm like, hey, I don't have any. And you know what, Matt, I'll just throw this out there to you. Love the idea that I don't think that there's a chance by the rings that there would be anything wrong with my work to have caused the accident. So I feel like it must be sabotage. So whatever caused me to do this, and then what if whatever the explosion was, whether it was Astra or whatever, it is a degrading injury somehow. I don't know what that means, but maybe Astra injuries aren't just like regular. So it started off at the tips of my fingers,
Dude,
and now I'm down to like, my a little
MS.
above my. What's that?
I said you have Astra MS. You've got multiple sclerosis, but in your Astras.
Oh God,
That's exactly what it is.
Thumbs down, machine gun. No, no, but the idea is that maybe I have to make the choice to get rid of this limb because of something, or it's necrotic, or blah blah, whatever.
I like that idea. Like there's something happened to a limb of yours where it is affected by Astra, and maybe maybe you even have like crazy like black glowing veins or something, something crazy going on where the limb is clearly degrading, and you're going to have to lose it, or probably it's whatever this is going to reach your brain or your heart, and you're going to die.
Right. And I love that because I am not into all that. I'm a very mechanical, I understand Astra, but to me, it's like electricity. I'm not about studying and learning. I'm like, nope, this is what it is. These are the volts. And so I like that because I would hide it. I would keep it wrapped up. I wouldn't be like studying it, but it also could give my ties to Jeff and Lloyd because they'd probably be like, what is this?
Yeah, right. Something that they don't understand or haven't seen before dealing with Astra that they could study and have input on and stuff like that.
Killer.
Too. So
yeah. So
great.
If you're cool and that's not like too out there for what you wanted to start with, I'd be down with that.
No, that's fine. I'll create you your own background and use necrograph rules for your special character. I'm giving you the hardest time. I'm totally down with that.
While you're at it,
I'm just flipping you shit.
Yeah, can you make me a new class?
Can I be? Wait, Tim, do you want to play? I'm working on this race. They're light based and they turn into ships. Do you want to be?
Oh yeah, dude. I actually do.
Cool. Awesome.
Yep.
You can be a Robotech. I'll make you a Robotech.
I'm a Zentradi, baby.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Awesome. So I'm going to add here and under this. What's up with Tim's arm?
Oh yeah, I should be doing that. I'm a bad player. I'm also making you do the work.
Tim, you have the flu, and it's a wonder that you're even talking coherently.
I got the black lung pop.
The black lung pop. All right, cool. All right, this gives me a ton to work with here. I'm feeling really good about what we have here. I'd love to loop back and maybe talk about characters a little bit more if you guys are cool with that. Maybe go for another half an hour or so here and maybe build up some connections. I saw Barker and Lloyd, you guys were talking about maybe connecting your characters. Do you guys want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if we want to go into it too much in the session 0, but I actually like the idea of giving a lot of the control to Lloyd because the idea is that I was a Forge-born that might have been like, I don't know, wiped and then gifted to Lloyd's character by his sept as a bodyguard on his mission or missions. And so that would kind of be tied to Lloyd's character instead of anyone else externally.
I like that idea. I think that's really cool. And I like the idea of Forge-born, even after they're waking up, like still being considered sort of property by certain people.
Sure.
And it would be cool
Especially
too.
by
Like,
septs, right?
what's that, Lloyd?
Especially by septs, they would just be like, that's another useful resource that we have. These people
Exactly.
who like have no memories.
Totally. And like slavery absolutely exists in Harbinger, and that like you can go to the drift market and buy people. So it stands to reason that if you discovered people that were like children just waking up and they're, 7 feet tall and can, do hard labor and have armored skin, you'd probably be like, yeah, I think we're gonna enslave those people for sure. We are.
So you're telling me that the iPhones in this world are super good?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Because the Forgeborn are building them, baby.
So I got kicked out of the set for some reason. I don't want it to be that I had that I saw humanity in the Forgeborn and then took him away to save him. I don't want that.
No,
I
that's
think
lame.
that it's normal. I always think about settings where there's slavery and I'm the guy who doesn't like it for some reason. I'm it doesn't make sense. But I do want it to be around the magic. So I did something that's frowned upon or not okay. Maybe there was an explosion. Maybe there was contact with something from another dimension, whatever it is. And they were you're fucking out of here, buddy.
I really like that idea. Trying to think about do you want to hash out what that might be, or do you want to keep that close to the chest?
I'm easy. I don't mind. I think it's probably a secret. You wouldn't tell anyone.
Totally.
But it's fine if we know what it is.
I think maybe give it some thought, and you can talk to me about it. But if you want to sort of keep that, under wraps from the rest of the guys, I think that would be kind of a cool. I can play that into a mission at some point where you come into contact with your sept again or something like that.
Yeah,
so,
cool.
And I like the idea of tying it to your magic and your sort of your fixation with more powerful, more sort of unorthodox magic, which Astra is already just crazy. So I like the idea that you're just it's not crazy enough.
But can I teleport?
Okay, cool. So that's all great. I love the idea of Barker's character being tied to yours. That's a cool connection that allows you guys to have sort of a cool sort of connection there. Let's see. Let's talk about Jeff, your character. What sort of, obviously you're going to have a connection with Lloyd's character because you guys are going to be able to talk about Astra, and you're going to be using Astra in very different ways. Can you think of any other links that we can make between your character and another character here? A shared past or something like that?
Let's see.
I don't want to force anything, but just if we think of anything.
I kind of, and if it's too much, then that's fine. But I kind of like the idea of that maybe I stole something from one of them. Maybe it was James's character. He got this sick piece of salvage, and then I'm just oh, hey, what's that? Yellow Astra, grab it and peace out. And then later we meet on the first job, and then again now later on these jobs, and it's sorry about that, but not really.
Because it sounds a lot like I feel like to some degree we're press ganged, onto this nomad and have to do something, whatever this first mission is going to be. I don't feel like it's we all meet and shake hands and hey guys, you want to have some fun? It's oh, what the hell are you doing here? So yeah, I love that idea, being confined to close quarters with potentially somebody that, we didn't get off quite on the right foot.
Yeah, I like that. So that's great. So Jeff's character potentially, I'm going to just jot this down here. Potentially stole a valuable piece of salvage.
And probably to avoid it being an actual rift between characters, but instead more of a moment. I like to think it would be old Dominion tech, but I don't want to say sentimental, but not worth anything, but worth something to my character because he feels it's
something
it's
of personal significance.
Yeah, it's because it's so reminiscent of a different era, but it's not something that's really worth anything. So it bothers me more that he stole it because he probably thought it was worth something because I held it so highly. But it really was technically, for Glint, worthless. It means a lot to me, but I'm come on.
Yeah, I like the idea that he takes it, runs off to go pawn it off to the nearest guy, and he's what is this? This is literally junk. What kind of money are you gonna get for this?
Yeah.
He's this is a reprint of a Black Lotus. This is worth nothing. I need that. I need that original, baby. Okay, cool. That's great. And then Tim, for your character, obviously you're going to have some sort of connection with. Well, I think like you are going to have a great sort of connection with James's character, where you're like, I really want to learn about necrotech, and like I've heard that like people can replace limbs, replace eyes, replace organs, and then you're going to have great sort of conversations with Lloyd and Jeff's character, where they're wanting to know more about, if they find out about this malady that you have, they're going to want to know about it and they're going to want to study it.
Right. Yeah, and I think that'll be great. And as far as like letting that kind of organically happen, I think that'd be sick. As far as how I got on the ship, I kind of like the idea, but I also don't want it to be like a burden, like a weight. But I like the idea that, like I said, I'm not necessarily a merc, but I'm not C-3PO either. So, excuse me. But the idea is that I don't know that I would have. I like that it's circumstantially probably wrong place, wrong time, that I even got involved with the job. Like I was maybe at the location of the job.
Right.
Or something, whatever. So it just happens that.
Or you were like part of the job. Like you were a target or something in the job. Like somehow you were involved like tangentially and got, roped in with these guys.
Dude, yeah, I'm the other guy. I'm the guy that has to turn the key with Miles Dyson.
That's Tim at level 20.
At level 20, yeah, definitely.
That's such a cool Warhammer model.
Oh, Warhammer is so awesome. Cool. Look at this.
That's so amazing.
I know. That's what I mean. I'm like, it's just that's super necrotech to me.
You guys want to play Warhammer instead and just play some Warhammer?
Well, you use the Harbinger rules, so
that's on the table. No. But yeah, we could
so
just
I threw in there like an idea that I lifted entirely from Warhammer, which is that this Mancer and maybe lots of Mancers are blind, like their eyes can't handle the power of the Astra, and so he sees like through auras instead of doesn't see anything visually,
Yeah, I really like that, and I think hang on, is it adepts that get the ability to see Astra?
Yeah, I think
not allowed to ask that question.
Hang on, I designed this team. Astra sense. Yeah, you can sense Astra and identify its source. Yeah, so I mean that already plays into mechanically stuff that you can do. So I really like that,
dude.
I like that too as like potentially an option of like I don't have that, and he's like, yeah, when you use Astra, it makes you go blind and go crazy. And I'm just like, what are you talking about? I'm not blind.
Right.
Like, no, I use it responsibly. No, fade blind.
Fade blind. Yeah.
I like it.
It's like it. Oh, you're fade blind? Boom.
Lloyd, are you thinking of going exile instead of noble? Did I hear that?
I'm thinking about it, yeah. Yep.
Cool.
And I would imagine some would see that as a coin term of respect, and others would be like, yep. And others would be like, oh, you're an idiot.
Yeah. I think it's like maybe a mark of high training. Like you approach a certain level of academic sort of Astra study, and that's when your eyes explode. It's like, you've graduated, and so you've seen beyond, but your eyes no longer work. Dude,
you know what it probably is? It's probably arguable that it's when you start seeing auras, they blind you. It's like it's not something that happens and then you learn to see auras. It's like, oh, you don't care because you're seeing.
Like it's a trade-off that people know about. Like, okay, if you continue past this point, you lose your sight. Yeah, you can see, but some people like you are like, yeah, absolutely. No sacrifice is too much. Given that, my eyesight right up to get more into the Astra.
Because you're like, I'll keep looking at the sun because I like the way it looks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So.
And maybe you could even tie it into whatever it was that got you kicked out of your sept. Maybe you went beyond your abilities and your means, and that's what resulted, sort of thing.
Perfect.
One other thing I wanted to talk about here was the ship specter, because that you guys are going to be interacting with the specter a lot. And for viewers who are unfamiliar, in Harbinger, there's no AI, there's no there's no computers really necessarily, but there are specters, which are sort of these ghostly presences that are gathered and grafted together by necrotechs to create these sort of machine brain sort of things where they're using the cognitive power of dead people to basically run the higher functions of void ships and other tech. So all void ships have a specter aboard that maintains the yellow Astra to keep gravity, the green Astra to keep the shields up, the red Astra to power the weapons, all that kind of stuff. So I did want to talk about the Spectre as a character and what you guys were sort of thinking for that. Are you wanting my sort of initial...
Alexa.
What's that?
Alexa, play Metallica. That's what I'm looking for.
Google.
Google. Okay, Google. Target that Scrug raid boat. But what I was thinking was, I always go with like a sort of placid, emotionless sort of female Spectre, but I'm open to whatever. If you guys want like an old man, if you want like if your Spectre is a kid, like what do you guys think the Spectre looks like, sounds like, acts like?
My favorite ever Spectre that I've seen, Ian ran a game called Alone.
Yes.
At the end of it, it was heartbreaking. Like my character's kid had become a Spectre on this like enormous warship or whatever.
Yeah.
I love the idea that it's like a child, and it's just awful and really fits, I think.
Yeah.
And somebody brought up an interesting point much earlier when you said, oh, maybe something horrible happened on the ship and none of us know why. They brought up the point that the Spectre would probably know.
Yep.
But probably wouldn't be forthcoming.
I was just going to say the same thing.
That is
like the Spectre
really cool
knows
idea.
what happened. They're like, I don't want it. That was really bad. I don't want to talk about it. It's too much. Like,
and I think that ties into being potentially the consciousness of a child. Because it could be any number of things. It could be that the Spectre messed up. You know what I mean? It's up to the Spectre to. But I'm like, we're getting into these sort of weird philosophical where like, is a kid good at being a Spectre? You know what I mean? It still requires some skill, maybe. So I don't know. I mean, it could be a lot of things.
I really like that because that, again, it creates a little bit of conflict where it's like the Spectre is supposed to be this sort of subservient thing, but when you guys ask it about the former crew, it just doesn't want to talk about it. It refuses to talk about it, and it sort of leads you guys to think like, did the Spectre like have something to do with what happened on this ship? Because we are on a like barely held together ancient haunted house hurtling through the void of space powered by magic. So, we do have some things to worry about here.
Yeah,
exactly.
And
oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, and I want to throw this out there because I'm super down with the idea, but I want to explore some of the specifics of it because kids in RPGs is sort of a yellow light for me, depending on their role and what we're going to be doing on the ship and all that stuff.
For sure.
So maybe kind of deciding that it's a young person and maybe putting it more as like teenager-ish, close to like, are you guys down with that? Or do you want like a child, like a young?
What's thing, at least to me about it is that, so the voice would be that of a kid. Like clearly this thing has been around for years and years at this point. If it's not only been with us, but with the previous crew, it knows what's happened. So it's like, it's a child technically, but it's also like, got much more years of experience added onto that of being a Spectre, so it's like not exactly a child.
No, and that's fair.
Probably
I guess
right?
the rub for me is the dead kid at the beginning of the equation.
For sure. And that's
like, hey, this is an inexperience.
No, for sure. And this is
a fair point.
This is another thing that is good for session zeros is like if things come up that someone is like, I don't know if I'm really into that. That's a good, a good time to do that. So what I'll say to you, Tim, is that I absolutely get where you're coming from and totally respect that makes you a little bit squeamish. And so what I'll do is the Spectre may appear as a child, sort of like Ghost of Christmas Past, but it is made up of a bunch of like in my headcanon, Spectres are always like cobbled together. Like you can never just take one person and turn them into a Spectre. It's always like a bunch of coalesced like personalities and souls. So though it sometimes appears as a young person, not necessarily a young child, but like a younger person, they have different fragments of different people sort of attached to them. So I will definitely keep that in mind and also just sort of handle it with a very careful hand.
And I trust you. Yeah. And that's the thing. I'm okay with exploring that theme.
Yeah.
But that's why it's not like a red light. But like I said, it's kind of a yellow light. Like, okay, and that's a great answer, and that makes me ease up. Like, okay, cool.
I'm not going to be like, the specter looks exactly like your daughter, Tim.
Yeah. And I'm just like,
so I think I think the main thing is.
Can I just say one final thought? The reason is because I specifically made a character who's interested in finding out the origins, and I didn't want it to be some horrific thing.
Yeah.
So that's why
exactly. I think that's the main thing for me is the idea that I think more that the specter is childlike in the sense that it's disobedient, you know. But sure. I like that. I also see where you're coming from, but even more, Matt, when you mentioned, you know, it being a bunch of different, you know, consciousnesses that make up the specter.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's just going to be a really interesting role play experience for the ship to be a character.
No, and I love that. Yeah, and I think for me, and I've been talking a lot, but I feel like I'm the one with the yellow light, so I want to make sure I just let you guys know I'm totally cool with the idea. I trust all of you guys. So I think that all makes sense. And in my head canon, that stew of Astra and souls, I think it's kind of cool that it's almost like a snowflake in that you don't know which one is going to coalesce into the face of the specter.
Yeah.
So
yellow lights are a red light for me. No, but that makes sense. Yeah.
So yeah, that as long as that's like kind of just like some quick guideline set, I'm super down with that.
Just our chat.
I know, right
now. Another thing I wanted to point out that this is kind of funny. A bunch of people in the live chat were a little miffed that we said that we activated their phones,
smart home devices.
It was on echoes. That really conversation. I didn't even think about that.
Alexa, play Jay-Z's 99 Problems.
He did it again. He just went for it.
Maximum volume.
Yeah. Matt apologizes. Tim's like, screw it.
Oh man,
I'm sorry, because that seriously that's unsub territory.
Yeah. And the thumbs downs begin.
The thumb down machine gun. Is what
the thumb down machine gun. Okay, cool. That's great. Okay, I think we're sort of coming up against the end of this kind of the stuff that I wanted to talk about. The questions that I had for you guys. The last thing I kind of want to touch on is maybe if anyone has any ideas for where they might be from in terms of moons or locations. And if not, if you're sort of, you know, not seeing a moon that already exists in the canon, you can create your own, or you can use the moon generator at the back, which I'm so jazzed about that moon generator, and I can't wait to use it. But does anyone have a specific place in mind that they might be from? Like Lloyd, I know Arganis is your jam, but
so
I don't know this Manzer to be Sepp Grimmar. I don't think it fits as well. I feel like Grimmar are like practical and like smash shit. This is much more like ooh. So I'm thinking like Enuma or Elzarine, one of those two.
Ooh, cool. Okay, yeah, absolutely. Anybody else have any ideas for where they might be from?
Yeah, I'm super into the drift market.
Yeah,
like just like absolute like Voidborn live. I don't know if the drift market is like also there's housing there, but I imagine there'd be slums massive, like, for sure. Yeah, so I'm like like grew up in the the drift market, which also really would would have exposed me to old Dominion tech, or at least stories of what Dominion tech could be out there. Necrotech, absolutely like the, origins of why my character's interested in it, I think would be.
That's great. Okay, cool. I was hoping that someone would be from the drift market. Cool. All right, and then Barker, it stands to reason that your character would have probably awakened on Tharkestra if that's where Lloyd's character is from.
Oh yeah, perfect. That sounds.
Does that make sense?
Yep, that sounds good.
Awesome. I'm gonna click on this thing that. Oh wait, where did it go? I just lost a window. I don't know where that went. Oh God.
Oh, so Matt, this is probably a little bit more complexity than you're looking for. This has nothing to do with the game as much. But Josh brought a cool thing up that Discord does now where you can like DJ basically.
I heard about that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so he mentioned it'd be cool if you played your Harbinger playlist whenever you're listening to it, but it allows people to listen to it like it were a radio. I think they need Discord and Spotify, but
right. So it'd be like exactly the song I'm listening to would be the one that they're
what you're listening to at what time, and it would be an interesting kind of thing. Again, a bit of complexity, but it'd be a cool thing to say, "Hey guys, this is the link for the current playlist," and yeah, it'd be cool.
Yeah, that is really cool.
So Matt, one of the things I want. Sorry,
you go.
You had just mentioned Awaken in Orchestra, and I think that's excellent. But I wanted to see if you'd be down for something like memory wipes, something like that, where I don't really know where I was awakened per se, but like the last I remember, I was in the halls of I suppose Lloyd Sept, and there I am, sort of thing. I don't know if that's something Harbinger is.
I really like that because it plays into Astra being used for things like memory wipes, which I think is really dark and cool.
Nice.
It seems like something that Tharkestra would do. Like it seems like something that would be like up Sept Alzarine's alley. And I also like the idea of adding that to the questions of like, where is Barker's character from? Like, what moon are you originally from, and what are you like?
Yep.
What are these memories like? Because the Forgeborn, when they sleep, they like dream about the Old Dominion, and they like have these like sort of flashback sequences. And I imagine that like you having these like flashback sequences to this moon, and you've never seen this moon before. And one of the things that like I can play with is like, what if you guys show up at a moon and you recognize it, Barker, and you're like, oh my god, I've been here before.
Oh man,
so,
what if I'm like trying to mine his memories? Like if I'm trying to use my Astra to like dig in there and find the shit that he remembers.
Yeah, like you're going like all Vulcan on him, like trying to. Yep.
Like digging in there and trying to swim through and find like locations and stuff.
Yeah. I love that.
If we're digging in deep, let me throw this out there for you, Lloyd. What if like there's some sort of crystal inside of me that controls my impulsivity? And the theory is that the more impulsive a person is, the more they'll do someone else's bidding. And so you can just turn up my impulsivity and I will do what you say. And it kind of feels like that's why that explains so much about maybe some portions of slavery in the known orbits.
Oh yeah, I'm down with that. I love that.
That's really cool. I really like that idea.
I'll write it down, Matt.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And Barker, you are built to play a character like that. You were born to be thrown a moon and say, what does this look like?
Yeah, exactly. Like,
that's
what
perfect casting.
I can't wait until you guys are sleeping on board the Nomad and I say, Barker, what are the images that flash through your mind? And I'm really excited for what that moon looks like.
Awesome.
He's like, you've had this dream before.
Forgeborn are like, you've had this dream before. The race.
The race.
Okay, so Tim, did you have any ideas for where your character might be from?
I was going to kind of lean on you because I wanted it to be not necessarily, is it Alzarine who's kind of like the most wealthy?
Yeah, so those are the like Tharkestra and Sept Alzarine they're like the big head honchos, and that's where Lloyd's character is from.
I was thinking maybe of if there was a more, and maybe if it's one of those, that's fine too. Like if it's one of those two larger ones, but I didn't know if there was perhaps a Sept that was very technically apt, maybe smaller, like the Intel of Septs, like they kind of produce the tech and everything.
So there's
would that be Larkin?
Yeah, so Larkin are kind of like they're the thing with Larkin is they're not based on a moon. They're the guys that run the drift market. But they're sort of like information brokers. They're merchant kings, right? But another option would be Sept Roldo, because they're sort of like these shrewd craftsmen and merchants that live on the moon that has all the acidic oceans. And they have they deal in the iron bone from those eels.
Oh, can I Roldo?
And then you got to be from there because then you can make that joke
all the time.
So if you wanted to be connected to Sept Roldo, you'd be from the moon of Ozen, which would be a possibility. But again, like the established moons and septs that we have make up such a small percentage of the actual factions and moons that exist around Bastion. So we can even roll you up a moon and a sept if you want.
So
because we're already making you a background and a necrograph. So.
Yeah, like seriously, okay.
Like I shouldn't just because I'm like, well, you're gonna make a thing from scratch. We can use biscuits from the store. That's fine. But honestly, if you want to use that moon generator, I'm all about that life. If not, I would probably go Alzarine.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and that would be totally fine. That would probably give you a cool connection to Lloyd's character as well, since that is where he's from. So you'd be able to you probably would have never even met because it's such a huge world and such a huge sept. But it'd be cool if you guys were both from that sept.
Yeah, and it maybe like a worlds collide kind of thing.
Different social status and
exactly.
Yep.
I think that would be really cool, like a worlds collide, sort of like, yeah, very Prince and the Pauper kind of thing.
Dope. Okay, cool. Barker, who knows where he's from? And then, what are you thinking, Jeff? Because you're Moonborn as well.
Yeah, I'm actually not totally sure. I was kind of looking through them, and nothing is necessarily like totally jumping out as like the obvious choice.
Totally,
I figure it's probably like not a great place to be, like lower. At least if it is somewhere more known, definitely on the lower level scale of it. But I'm not exact. Just like somewhere just really junky and just terrible.
Generate a moon.
I was gonna say, I'm like, we gotta generate one now.
If we wanna feature our fancy moon generator, I'd be happy to.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm going to bring this over to the screen so people can see it. This is a moon generator. It's just a one-page, like, quick moon generator that's going to be in 0.5. I love it so much. So let's generate a moon. That Parker said people are going to think that was staged. It so super seemed like it was staged. It's like, oh, if only we had some sort of generator for moons that we could use.
What will we do now?
You entice people to sign up for the playtest. Oh man! All right, so Jeff, do you wanna roll this up, man? You wanna be in charge of rolling that baby up?
I'm down.
Let's make a moon
by Jeff Doty. Jeff Doty.
All right, so first is a D4. It looks like, which is 2. So this is a moonlit.
So it's a tiny little place.
Yeah, which I think that kind of makes sense.
Totally.
And it's remote, which I think also makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm writing this down too.
Alrighty, and then its rotation is that's a 4, so it's prolonged. So this has a super long rotation cycle.
Oh, cool. So the days are like literally a week at a time. That's great.
A week long, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And biome, it's a D6. Desert, which is also good.
This is working out great.
Oh man, a week long day cycle on a desert. That sounds absolutely miserable.
Horrible. You live in the worst planet of all time.
It's called Musk Grave.
like people show up on this moon and they're like, well, it'll be nighttime soon, right? And you just look at them and like shake your head without saying a word. Just like, it's Monday. Nighttime's not going to be here for 7 more days.
The shade around here is
so
tired.
Bad.
You understand?
Wait for it. What's next?
All right, and weather. Oh, my D4 somehow managed to land on its side.
Unlivable.
All right, so yeah, actually it is harsh.
Oh,
3 on the
that's
die.
awesome.
Harsh.
I can't wait till you guys have to go to this planet.
Oh, God.
Oh,
Jeff-
please.
Sounds
Jeff
awful.
was born on a chunk of crore.
Yeah.
This is if the Harbinger was a moon.
Yeah.
Oh, what a shithole.
All right, and then
This is awesome.
of course, just perfectly on theme, sparse for life. That's a
Okay.
2.
Got it.
God. And no wonder this
Inhabitable.
character is like an unsavory mess of a person. Like
Yeah, no kidding.
living on this planet, how could you not be? All right,
He's living on the
terrain.
Mad Max.
All right. So I got a 5, which is high peaks for terrain.
That's kind of cool.
Sand dune?
Bro.
Yeah.
Oh, sand.
Yeah.
Oh, man, on the top
Right,
of
and
the
then-
sand, there's snow because they're so high up. That'd be fucking weird.
Oh, yeah. That'd be neat.
Hey, you can have a snowy desert.
Oh man, that's crazy. Yeah. And then features. Oh god, acidic water.
Oh my god! You made
Yeah.
roar. You rolled up
It is.
roar.
Yeah.
It's coming. If you guys didn't know it was coming, you're crazy.
Yeah.
Yep, here we go.
All right, and then the as a quick editing aside, it's status says D6 and there's 8 options.
Oh man, I messed up.
Oh. We got to talk to whoever laid that out.
I don't know who it was. I'll get him on the horn immediately.
Layout guy. Hey,
All right, and-
Wizards called.
Yeah.
All right, and somehow we've also got religious fanatics maintaining temples
This
on
is
this
Yes.
planet as well.
the
Perfect.
worst moon of all time.
Who else would
true.
live there? You know?
Yeah.
Who else would live there except for religious fanatics? There must be something here that they think is holy.
That's amazing. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So that is a really good sort of foundation for this moon. So Jeff, like, feel free to think about this more and come up with your own ideas about why this moon is the way it is, why the religious fanatics are there. That's really awesome, and I can't wait to visit this moon. It sounds like a total shithole.
Narrate your own hellish birth circumstances.
Oh man. So if you join the Harbinger playtest, you too can roll up barren hellscapes with which to explore.
That's my character's name. Is Baron
Explore.
Hills.
Baron Hellscape. My name is Baron Hellscape. Awesome. All right. This is great. I don't think I have anything else for you guys. I'm going to open it up to you in case you guys have any questions, anything you want to add, any other ideas you want to put forward. You guys got anything else?
I've talked enough for 2 people, and I have to go remedicate because I can feel my fever. Like I'm sweating like a
You're on Jeff's
forge born
planet
at a
right now.
sept party.
Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you very much, but I am going to drop kind of quick because I'm feeling a little dizzy.
Yeah, get out of here. I think
But-
we're going to get the flu if you don't get out of here. So,
I love you guys. Thank you so
Okay,
much.
see you,
Thanks for
Tim.
letting me talk so much.
Take it easy.
all right. So glad that guy's gone. Jeez.
Jeez.
This is the worst.
Unbelievable.
But yeah, if anyone has any other ideas they want to throw out there, now's the time.
I do also think I'm good, though. I'm excited to explore more
Yeah.
about this character during the game.
Totally.
Yeah, I think there's a lot. There's a lot here.
Yep. And you guys can feel free to hang out in this doc and add more about your characters and sort of use it to add more ideas if you want. And we'll try and get a game scheduled and play in March. I'd love to play in March if you guys are down with that. I think that'd be
Yeah,
great.
man.
Let's
Cool.
do it. Let's make it
Yeah,
happen.
let's do it.
All right. Very cool. All right. So I'm gonna let these guys introduce themselves since we've totally forgot to do that. And then we'll go ahead and call it here. Thanks everyone for hanging out with us as we did our session 0 here. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you're interested in checking out more about Harbinger, there's some links down in the description for the playtest, as well as a Google Sites that I set up a little while ago that has some more sort of lore and information about the different moons and seps and things like that. There's also links to all of these guys' channels. So please support everyone who's going to be involved in this campaign. Go subscribe to their channels. That'd be great. And I think that's all I got. We're going to let them do outros, starting with Barker.
Hi, I'm Tim. I'm one half of Tabletop Terrors, and I'm 1/4 of Absolute Tabletop. And I want you to go back to the beginning of this video and check out the Dead Man's Guide to Dragongrin cover that the actual Tim showed off earlier, because it's Awesome. I am Barker now in this moment, and I run the channel Be a Better Game Master, which I'm excited to really further dive into in 2018. Really excited. Thank you, Matt, for running this game. This is super exciting. Had no idea who I was going to play when I arrived at the computer today. I've been in 3 states. I have flown across the United States back home and immediately turned this on, and it has been a blast. So I really can't wait till next time we play. Let's make it happen in March.
Awesome. All right, James.
I am James of really the channel Tabletop Terrors. Like Barker said, I'm very excited about this game. It's going to be so much fun, and I can't wait to play some Harbinger.
Lloyd.
I'm Lloyd. I run YarlDM on the YouTubes, and also had no idea what I was going to play when I started this, and now I get to play a blind astral projecting sorcerer tech lord. I'm so excited to do that.
I like every part of that sentence. I'm very excited as well. All right, Jeff.
Yeah, I'm Jeff. I have a YouTube channel in Counterbalance. I also do a podcast with Jeremy Lilly and Chad Nick called The Dudes of Yore. So if you're interested, check that out as well. And yeah, I'm super hyped up on this. I can't wait to see where all this is going to go, because I'm already in.
Yep, I'm like 100% like invested already, and I can't wait. I'm gonna like prep the first game tonight. I can't even wait. So thank you everyone for watching. Thanks these guys for joining me. And this campaign's going to be kicking off very soon. I'll of course make an announcement on Twitter and Facebook and on YouTube and stuff when the first session gets scheduled. So keep an eye out for that. So thanks everyone. Take care. Happy gaming all. And I'll need to come up with some sort of outro call sign for this Harbinger campaign. I don't know. Don't go in the Harbinger. It'll kill you.